and welcome back. So with everything going on in the world right now, I felt like it was almost unsettling and kind of weird for me to be posting about something that isn't relative to what's going on in our world. However, I felt like I needed a creative outlet to just talk about things that are outside of what's going on in the world right now. However, I'm not just going to sit here and pretend like it doesn't exist. So I have provided some links down below of places you can donate with your time and potentially money. So please give them a look because it's very important. So today it is currently raining. It is like downpouring. It's been downpouring all day, and personally I love this weather, but I felt like I wanted to make a YouTube video because, you know, I have some free time on my hands. So I felt like if there was a video that is perfect to make today, I would make a June to be read and May wrap-up video, all surrounding books. Because, you know, it's pretty chill, pretty lo-fi, we're doing pretty alright. So I felt like I would just talk about the ratings I gave all the books I read and just briefly describe how I felt about them because I'm not trying to spoil anything, and then I'd be talking about the books I plan to read this month if I can. So nonetheless, let's dive right in. So in the month of May, I read the entirety of 3 books. Here's the reason why I only read 3 books, okay? I've been so out of reading. I have not wanted to read for the longest time. I was just not interested. I didn't want anything to do with it. But recently, since we're all in quarantine, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get back into it. And I'm so glad I did because it gives me something to do and it's fun. So the first book I read was Warcross by Marie Lu. I was watching one of those what to read in quarantine videos, and someone started talking about this, and I realized, oh my gosh, I actually own this book. I've owned this book for a while. I've just never read it, and so I did read it. The reason I really wanted this was because Marie Lu is the author of the Legend trilogy, and I love the Legend trilogy. Also, this cover is just really great. It follows this girl who lives in New York City named Amika Chen, who is a bounty hunter and has always been struggling with money and paying bills and stuff, but she's also a hacker, and she ends up hacking into Warcross on the opening night of their big games, essentially. And she basically gets thrown into this whole world, and there's romance, and it's really fun. It's a really fun read, and I really enjoyed it. While we're on the top of this, I also read the second book, which is Wild Card. I have no idea if there's a third book. I kind of hope there's not, because I liked Warcross more than I liked Wild Card. These books just aren't my favorite. This type of genre is not something I normally would grab, but I'm really excited I read them. I'm really proud of myself I read them. I gave Warcross 4 stars on Goodreads, and I would probably have to agree with that. It's a really fun book. It's so much fun, but it overall just wasn't my favorite. Now with Wild Card, I gave it a 3-star rating on Goodreads because I did not enjoy this as much as I enjoyed Warcross. By the end of this book, I was just get it over with. Get it over with. I want to move on. So as you guys may know, Suzanne Collins, who is the author of The Hunger Games, released a new book called Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, and I have that book. We'll get to her. But before reading that book, I wanted to reread the Hunger Games trilogy, so that is what I'm currently doing. So this is the last book I read in May. It's so weird rereading these books because I have not reread them since I was probably in middle school. I don't think I read them. I've read them at all during my high school years, and it's so weird and so much fun to reread them because honestly, this book trilogy is fantastic. It's basically about this futuristic society. Every year they put a bunch of kids from all of these districts into an arena and televise it, and they have to kill each other. That's pretty much what it's about. So it's so good. If you have not read The Hunger Games, and you've watched the movies, I love these books. I will say, I realize more as I'm reading this, I'm not a huge fan of Suzanne Collins' writing style. It's not, I don't think it's necessarily her writing style, it's just Katniss's voice in her head, I think is really weird. I don't know, I feel like everything flows in this book. I don't really have any issues with the plot or anything, or I feel like Suzanne Collins writes everything so that way I can understand it and it's not like paragraphs of description. And I feel like her characters are all very solid. It's just Katniss's inner voice in her head that I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. So I gave this book 4 stars because it's fantastic. However, when I'm comparing it to this is probably 4.5 and this is just like 3.5 maybe. I don't know. But I love this book. I think this book is great and I highly recommend it. This book is so loved that this has fallen out. That's how long I've had these books and I love them. So now moving on to my June to be read. This is obviously gonna be with a grain of salt because do I think I can read this many books in a whole freaking month? No. So I just want to put it out there that I did finish Catching Fire literally like an hour ago. So this was in my to be read, but I just finished it. So go me, right? We're ahead of schedule. Not really. So obviously with Catching Fire, I will give a whole talk about this at the end of this month, aka beginning of next month. But let's just say this book is God tier. Like y'all know that like the tier ratings, this is that. Ooh, I'm so excited to talk about it. And then obviously with finishing Catching Fire, I wanted to go into Mockingjay. I also want to mention that I didn't just want to reread this series for Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. I also just wanted to reread something that I loved as a kid, and this is definitely one of them. I am still a kid, by the way. By the way, did I mention that this channel is like now a year older? I don't know how much years older. Also, I'm a year older. I'm 17 now. Isn't that weird? Crazy. But yes, I'm going to be diving into this probably later today because I'm so excited for this book. I'm terrified, but so excited because I feel like out of all of the books in the trilogy, this is the one I'm most unsure about. Like, I know everything that happens in this book as well as in the movies. I know everything that happens. However, I don't remember everything about this book. Is that kind of weird? I don't know. So I'm really excited to be reading this. And then I promise we're gonna shut up about the Hunger Games now, but we have the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this book, actually. I feel like it's gonna be a lot to get into just based on like what I'm looking at here, which is concerning, but I'm really excited. And I hope this doesn't take me all month to read because honestly, this will just be such a fail of a video. If that's the case, then I'm not gonna do... We'll see how this works. Let's just hope I can get through this because this is the biggest Hunger Games book, and while I'm not overly intimidated by big books, I'm scared. I'm scared, but I have high hopes for her. And then if I miraculously finish this book, I plan on diving into Eliza and Her Monsters. Now this book I'm very excited for. From what I'm understanding, it's about this girl who writes like fanfics about a comic, or maybe she writes like a fanfic comic. I don't know. And she's like super into it. She's super popular online. And then this boy comes to her school and he's obsessed with her comics. This is also one I found in like the quarantine reads types of videos. And I'm so excited. This is like right up my alley. Because like I used to love fanfic so much, and when I heard about this plot I was like, this is going to be perfect. So I'm very excited to read this. And then I'm gonna add a little bonus book in here because I don't think we're gonna get this far, if I'm being completely honest. If I do, this will be great. But I also have Little Fires Everywhere. I forgot to tell you the author of this. This is by Francesca Zappia. I'm not really sure about that, but that's about it. By Celeste, this last name because I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. But I have no idea what this is about. I heard it's like got like that Twilight Zone type of vibe, and I like that vibe. So I think I'm gonna like this book. It seems pretty interesting. I'm kind of scared, but I'm excited to dive into this. So that was my May wrap up in June to be read. I have high hopes for myself. I hope you guys have high hopes for myself. I don't plan on making every video on my channel now about books, but I feel like checking in every month about what I'm reading could interest some people, and plus I just like to do it. So yeah, if you have any video ideas for me, that would be great. I'm trying to brainstorm some of like what we can do, what we can talk about, all of that jazz and stuff. we'll see. I'm working on it. If you guys are staying safe, don't forget I do have some links down below that you can check out and donate to. It's now important more than ever. So yeah, I hope you guys have a awesome week. I will see you guys later. Bye.